Welcome to Symptoms of Being Riley.
In this book, our main character is Riley Canvo. Is it like that?
Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh? That's
from
the
Pretty
name?
Little Liars. That's how I know how to pronounce that.
Oh my god.
Kavanaugh.
Yeah, so Riley Kavanaugh.
Okay.
They are a gender fluid teenager.
Monica.
In Park Hills?
Park Hills,
Is
California.
that what it's called? Park Hills.
It's the book.
That's a very good question. So Riley is learning to deal with themselves and how to deal with other people in the world while being gender fluid.
Yeah. Child of a congressman.
Yes.
A very conservative congressman.
Oh, I didn't know that dad was conservative. I
They
missed
were,
that.
and that's why they were like, don't be gender.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the whole reason why. That's
That's why
they-
Riley isn't out. I just thought they
Yeah.
were too much of a, can I say, baby.
A baby, yeah.
Or one of those cats, you know what? Wink, wink. They were
So-
too much of a.
Okay.
That's what.
So for Riley's dad's campaign to rerun, their dad moved them to a new public high school as opposed to their old private one, and Riley faces challenges there, as usual.
Right.
Yeah. To cope with all the things they're going through, they start a blog because their therapist recommended it to them, and they were like, "Hey, we should try that." for once."
Talking out your
The
feelings.
therapist they don't
Yes.
listen to.
Yeah. But
So-
yeah.
So do you want
And
to
then-
start on character development?
Oh, yeah.
Where are they at the start of the book?
At the start, they are a very anxious, self-centered, indecisive person. And Riley is very socially awkward and judgmental, very condescending. But we see Riley being anxious and fearful on page 81, where they think they've gotten in a situation under control, but then gets immediately knocked down seconds later.
Page 87, to quote, "To either side of me, whispers persist, but after a few moments, it appears that I've survived the worst of it." And then, dude, is that a new redacted? It's like someone pours a bucket of ice water directly into my stomach, freezing my guts. End quote.
So that was actually page 21.
I feel like that quote really speaks to who Riley is because they think they're all confident and they got it under control,
Right.
but one tiny gust of air,
Yes.
they immediately get knocked down and they start crying in a ball.
True.
I think Riley is like that because they've had to be inside so long and they've had to cover who they are for so long, so they don't know who to be when they're going to this public school. They don't know how to act.
Truth.
And they don't know how to interact with people because they've only had one friend before. They went to a private school. They lived in a gated community.
Riley
But,
doesn't go out much.
They're pretty isolated. Thinking about it now, they're really isolated.
So before they moved to this public school, they had a friend in the private school, and they kind of had a little crush, and their friend moved away and started distancing themselves from them. At one point they just disappeared, and Riley was like, "Why did you do that to me?"
And they got all angry. It
Yeah.
was I have to think through the things my therapist told me to get over this.
I feel like that situation really affects how Riley acts with people now because they feel like they're going to be abandoned because of who they are.
Yeah, they have this fear of abandonment, and it's I kind of get why, because they're super. I would have been.
Yes.
In the middle of the story, Riley still remains anxious and socially awkward, but becomes more insecure and aggressive and defensive. We see Riley being insecure and paranoid on page 168.
On pages 167 to 168, there's this one point where Riley's on Blogger, and they get this anonymous message saying, "Anonymous, see you at lunch, effing T-slur." Riley, on the next page, is being dramatic AF. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
And says, "The message plays over and over in my head, and instead of paying attention in class, I'm completely trying to puzzle out who said that message and why."
I feel in that quote, Riley's just really paranoid and still socially awkward.
more like insecure.
Yeah, very insecure.
Like paranoid, insecure, and socially awkward.
Yeah.
They're playing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. What else do you think about Riley in the middle?
Okay, so there's this one moment in the book where Riley got called a slur and they were getting super defensive, which rightfully so, but they were going a little bit too much, and Solos took them on a trip to an arcade to get fries, and he gave this really good piece of advice. On page 95, Solo says, I don't expect you to spill your guts to me. Your business is your business, dress how you want, let people wonder, fuck them. And I think that really connects to how Riley acts, because Solo also has went through adversities, and he like learned how to cope with them and learned how to like just deal with being called names and dealing with oppression.
And Riley, like a few seconds after those words of advice left Solo's mouth, Riley goes, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just like Riley does not accept people.
Yeah, and they also get very like sassy, which I honestly don't understand, because like you are giving off the vibe of a like 5-year-old little toddler and a chihuahua like half breed.
Not getting like, they're acting like a 5-year-old not getting their ice cream after dinner. Like
Literally.
They're so unaccepting of people's like struggles. Like they think their struggles matter the most in the world.
they really prioritize themselves.
Yeah, they're self-centered.
Yeah.
Solo got called racial slurs.
So
Wait.
also had to deal with fat phobia.
Riley points out Solo's weight too
Yeah.
in their
Wait.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, look at his enormous frame, bro. You're a part of the problem.
That's exactly what people think of you.
If you're gonna say things like that, then you can't be upset
At
when people aren't respecting you.
Around this time, Riley meets this girl named Beck.
Yeah.
Riley really questions if they're into them or they're like just a friend.
Yeah.
And also, they misgender Beck. They're like, this handsome ass man keeps looking at me.
It's a
she.
There's a lot of hypocrisy with Riley.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny.
And they don't expect backlash from it.
Right.
Like the world revolves around me. I'm Saturn.
Saturn. At the end of the book, Riley is more confrontational and grew some thicker skin. This happens after like a series of events of like bullying and like harassment and even SA. Riley gets outed by the media because they found out about their blog, and then their dad gets really mad because like it was right before a big event for his rerunning, and Riley gets like upset at them. And at one point, Riley's dad is like, "You're going through a bisexual phase again."
Who?
Riley's dad.
Oh.
Like, it's just a phase. What do you mean? My campaign. And Riley was like, you don't understand me. And they ran away with the car. And so like they drove to this place where they went with Beck. And they were like, I should climb up that building right now. And so they jump onto the car hood, try to climb up. And then they fall down, right?
Right.
And then they see a pair of headlights, like from a car. And they're like, I wonder who that is. And it's their bully, Jim Vickers. Like Jim Vickers has been bullying them throughout the whole story, and like their little group of
Jim
friends.
Vickers is a bitch. Jim Vickers is like one of the first instances of the transphobia.
Yeah,
Yes.
and, like,
Is transphobia.
yes. So then Jim Vickers and his little group of homophobic friends start like pinning Riley down onto his car and like try to pull off Riley's pants to see if they have
The genitals of a girl or a boy.
yeah. And Riley's just there helpless because they're scrawny and they're football
Right.
players. And Riley couldn't really do anything, but like at very last minute before those underwear came off, Solo and Beck arrived to save them.
They're
I-
good friends.
Yeah.
I
And that,
appreciate you going into detail about that, because I feel like it's such a prominent part of the book that
Yes.
it kind of needs to be shared in the podcast itself.
yeah, I thought that one event is more eventful than their whole Tumblr thing.
I
Right.
agree with that.
Yeah, so I feel like that event really gave them thicker skin and gave them like the balls to confront their old bully. Who wants to read the quote?
I'll read it.
Well, if you could read that, yeah.
Just this one or both of them?
If you could read this one and if you could see this one.
On page 312, it says, I swallow and fight to keep my voice even. I'm not going to stop being who I am just because you don't like it. Like, ugh. And then the next one is on page 296. And I'm not.
No, it's on the same page.
Wait, sorry, 312 as well. And I'm not going to stop talking about it just because you don't understand it. Needs shaking. Small step forward towards her. I'm only going to talk louder.
Wow,
That's so
Riley.
cringy.
I know.
But it gets the point across.
Yeah.
I guess.
So what do you think of that quote, guys?
It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Riley finally grew some balls.
Right. Finally, like, stood up for themselves, and they're finally, like, starting to not care or, like, speak up for themselves. And, yeah.
And that quote was directed at
Jim Vickers.
Jim Vickers' girlfriend,
Oh, Sierra?
Sierra, whatever last name.
Some girl with the S sounding name.
Yeah. That really This is very different from what middle book Riley would do, because the middle of the book Riley would just be straight up disrespectful back.
Right.
be
Being
like,
like, this is
"You're
why your
not-"
dad's dead. Like,
I know. That's why you're not my type. Sorry.
damn.
And now Riley's like, you can't hurt me.
You can't hurt me. Whatever, major loser. Like,
That was Riley in the
Goodbye.
middle. So yeah,
it's funny.
the growth from scrawny, scared, socially awkward, anxious, all those words, to
Too big and powerful.
yeah.
To some degree.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit of growth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
But like, and I feel like this shows for like our theme, and where it's like, if you, I forgot what it was again. Thank you. When people look at the world and look at the world in one way, it may be may be hard to accept differences because they are focused on one perspective.
Yes.
And I feel like that can be applied for the bullies, the Riley,
The Riley.
like both sides.
Yes.
Because sorry, what? Go ahead. Oh, because the bullies are like thinking of like, oh, we live in a two-gendered world and we cannot accept anyone who doesn't have the genitals we have or like the same aesthetics. And then Riley is just thinking like, oh, everyone is just a terrible person, so I just hate them all. And so they should all just like die except they're like me.
I fully agree with that.
Yes.
So yeah.
They're very good.
So
Very.
yeah. So
It's kind of, and I feel like that could be applied to like real life.
yeah. How does it apply to real life?
Because everyone has their own perspectives. Like, I really can't. Like, I feel like a good example. I feel like a good example would be like, if you see everything as green, then you won't be able to see the other colors in the rainbow. Meaning, if you don't open up to others, you won't hear others' experiences. Like, let's say
Yeah.
Lily was just like, "Oh, I hate this fruit," and I was like, "Oh, ew, that like what?" I was like, "What? I love that fruit." And she was just like,
No, you don't.
no, you,
No, you don't.
You're wrong. And
You
then we
are
just get
so
mad at
wrong.
each other and just end our friendship. Like, what? That must be dumb.
I know.
Because, like, what what if, like, you could taste, like, more citrus than me? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to describe it.
If you see the world in like
Totally.
one lens, that one black and white lens, you can't see other colors.
Yes.
True.
Yeah, so how do you see this theme in this text? Like this whole story?
I think
In the
I
beginning.
see the theme in the beginning connect to the theme where I think it connects to the book on page 87 where the bullies are like, "Are you a boy or a girl? It's hard to tell." That connects to the theme because Jim Vickers' girlfriend has a closed mindset and can't see that a person can present like anything regardless of what they are.
Biologically.
On page 95, Solo delivers the best advice in the whole book, which basically goes,
Which mentions
which we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
earlier.
right?
But to repeat, look, I don't expect you to spill your guts to me. Your business is your business. Dress how you want. Let people wonder. Fuck them. Solo. Page 95.
Yeah.
This connects to the theme because Solo understands Riley's point of view and recognizes that other people are unaccepting.
Yeah, that moment shows how the theme is being developed.
Right.
We see our theme fully developed on page 296 when Riley's parents finally understand who their child is and accepts them.
Yeah.
Wait, okay. On page 296, it says, Mom cuts in, but we love you no matter what, Riley. You're our child. Dad looks at her and then nods. Your mother's right. His eyes meet mine and he says, but you're going to have to help us navigate this whole thing. We're old and set in our bipolar ways. Sir. Oh, wait, and then he says, binary, Dad. I say, yeah, like, sir,
Bipolar binary.
what do you mean? Like,
Bipolar binary.
it just sounds like he's not ready to accept his son, honestly.
Yeah, but like they're gonna accept him eventually.
Yeah, but
Trying.
it's growth. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
There's
before
some
that,
growth.
because before that, their dad was like,
Stop being gay.
get out of your
Like-
bisexual phase right now. My campaign is like 1 second away.
It's on the line here.
I know. Thank
you
you
for
for listening to Symptoms of Being Riley.